Hi. I've just finished going through your discussion on First and Show, and obviously you've also gotten your my comments and on your actual case studies. And I just wanted to touch base a little bit on this case. All of you did a dramatically better job on this case than the first one, and hopefully you're coming away with the idea that in the real world, and cases are trying to mimic the real world, that there is no right answer, that there's lots of possibilities, that you have to look at all the facts, and you have to filter the facts. And you'll notice that your classmates all came up with some conclusions that were quite similar, and all came up with some conclusions that were quite different. So who was right? Well, probably all of you or none of you. Who knows? Until you actually go out in the world and execute your plan, you really don't know who's right. The things that I think you should take away from reading this case and hopefully incorporate it in your next case is that the information you're given is not always perfect, and you have to look at who it comes from. And that I didn't see too much in any of your reports. So I wanted to sort of talk about that. How did First and Show first think or come up with the idea of taking their current successful kennel product and taking it into the consumer market? Well, it says in the case somewhere that the idea of doing this was brought to them by a broker, a supermarket broker, because the supermarket broker had seen what they considered a similar product in Texas, being sold in Texas, and they thought that First and Show could sell their product in the same manner. Okay, so let's think about who a food broker is and what their self-interest is. Well, first of all, food brokers to the supermarket business sell to the supermarket business, so they know the supermarket business. They don't know any of the other channels at all. That's not their market. Their market is supermarkets. So they're selling to supermarkets. They know supermarkets. Therefore, their bias, their built-in bias, not a bad thing, but their built-in bias is going to be supermarkets. So that's the first thing to think about. Where's the information coming from, and what is the knowledge base and or the bias of the people providing the information? So that's kind of number one. Number two, they tell you that Bil-Jac is a similar food, and it's similar in the fact that it's frozen, but there's really no other similarities. Bil-Jac is the lowest priced product, almost the lowest priced product in all of the products that you're shown. It's sold in bulk. I think, I don't remember exactly, but was it 25-pound packages or something? It's sold in bulk. So who's buying Bil-Jac? People who have lots of dogs? People who are, running ranches or something, who have work dogs and so forth. It's really not a similar product. It's similar in that it's a frozen meat product, but it's not as high end. It's not as formulated as carefully, and it's sold in bulk as opposed to in single serving packages. So it's different. And you have to think about that. You can't just accept the fact that the brokers say it's the same. So that's, and I don't know that any of you picked up on that, but that maybe you did, but you didn't voice it in your papers or in your. So that's the first thing to look at, the bias of the providers. And the other bias that you may not be familiar with, but you should know, is that people like Marketing Momentum, how do they make their money? Who pays them? Actually, not directly first in show. They're paid by taking a percentage of the advertising dollars. So they're paid by the TV stations, the radio stations. That's who pays Marketing Momentum. So they receive a commission. They receive a portion of the advertising sales as a commission from the places they place advertising with. So when you look at advertising agencies, what's their bias? They like to advertise. Surprise. They like to advertise because that's how they get paid. If they came back with a plan that had much less, fewer dollars in advertising, they would earn less. So there's a bias there. It's okay to have a bias. Just you as the internal person within the organization need to realize that there's a bias. So Marketing Momentum has done some work for us. They've probably done it without charging us because they hope to get a commission on the advertising. Just think about that. And finally, I've sent you the data, each of you, the break-even data that I compiled. It's really important to look at possibilities. If you're looking at a low, those of you who chose to go with a low price, think about how much market share I have to get to break even. Compare the amount, your sales data that you're going to need to attain to the market size. What percentage of the market am I going to have to actually capture in order to break even? And is that reasonable? Does it pass the smell test? Am I going to get 50% of the market? Probably not. We've got a specialized product that's targeted at people who care about organic food and who are willing to put up with the mess and the difficulty of feeding their dog a frozen dinner, which means I have to thaw it, and then it's kind of gooky and yucky, and then I put it in the dish and the dog loves it. For people who aren't willing to do that, dry dog food is certainly an easier thing to use. So think about that and use that data to examine whether your plan is reasonable. Can I achieve a 50% market share? It's hard to achieve 50% market share in anything, let alone when you have a product that's clearly going to be targeted to a relatively narrow slice of the market. So that's kind of the pieces that I wanted you to take away from this. Those are key takeaways, and there's a lot of other things in there. You all definitely got involved in the case. You all tried to put yourself in the position of the decision makers. I think you all did a quite good job on the case. I think there's room to do a better job on the next one. And hopefully you're finding this case study method useful. It's the nearest thing that educators have been able to come up with to actually being in the world and making decisions. And this is a safer place to do this. You make these decisions in the real world and you're wrong, and the consequences can be catastrophic. So better to make those decisions in an academic environment where wrong decisions don't cost anything. So good luck with the next case. I've posted some stuff about the Thanksgiving break. There will be your discussion of your cases due this coming weekend. The discussion won't start until after Thanksgiving break. I had originally said the discussion would go on during Thanksgiving break, but I thought that probably didn't make sense for some of you who may be traveling or with family and so forth. So I think we'll postpone the discussion to the beginning of the following week. And you'll have discussion and some information on your second quest, some review information, and then your second quest will be in the week after that. So we finished with new information, new lecture type information this week, and you'll have a discussion when you come back from Thanksgiving break, and then you'll have study for the second quest, which is in essence a final. It will include material from the beginning of the course. It'll be focused more on the material from the second half of the course. But it's marketing is holistic, so whatever I'm asking will be relative to that. I will post a video about or a blog about what will be on the test. And enjoy your Thanksgivings. Thanks a lot. Bye.